Oh, we're back to working 9 to 5 today after a beautiful Labor Day here in central Indiana. Hope you got to get outside and enjoy what was a beautiful weekend. It's a beautiful start to your Tuesday, too, as you get back to work and school today. We appreciate you joining us here on 13 Sunrise. I'm Sam in for Julia today, along with Julia and Matt. It was so beautiful.
Oh, my gosh, it was. It was beautiful. You saw that shot live over downtown. Crisp. Cool, beautiful, not quite fall weather, which we appreciate around here, especially just coming off the holiday weekend. But welcome in. We're glad you're with us. We will enjoy maybe one more day of this very summer-like feel, right, Matt?
Labor Day doesn't ever last long enough, does it?
I know.
No, especially when the weather's so nice, right?
Yes, it was great.
We're going to add 1 degree to the thermometer today. Just little baby steps going up before front has to come in and kind of knock the 80s out and send us back to the 70s. I want to show you what it looks like out there, though, this morning. We're in the 50s now. Low 60s in Indy, 62, 50 in Connorsville. We've really cooled off for some of us. There will be a few of us that get to the 40s this morning. Not as many 40s as we had yesterday morning, but a lot of 50s out there this morning. It's cool, it's refreshing, it's not too chilly, and there's not a lot of wind this morning either, so there's really not a wind chill, but things are quiet. Enjoy a nice, pleasant start this morning. Like Julia was talking about, the skies look very clear this morning. The haze is lower. We've got another good forecast for you, and we're starting off a little bit warmer for many of us this morning, and so that gives us a little bit of a bigger and a more of a head of a starting position to try to warm up a bit more today than even yesterday. It's gonna be a nice day in Tippecanoe County, and West Lafayette, we're busy. We have a big women's tournament right now. It's called the Boilermaker Classic. There are 16 teams for women's golf there at Purdue, and it's a nice, cool start in the morning, but just look over course of 3 hours, almost a 20-degree temperature jump. So as soon as the sun gets higher in the sky, we will warm up. We'll have the 80s today, but coming up, we'll talk more about when a front will come in and knock us down by 10 to 15 degrees. But it's a nice, quiet start this morning. We do have some traffic, though, that we need to know about, Lindsay.
Yeah, we've been watching our cameras up the 65 corridor, seeing what's open, what's not, basically. Just north of here, we know that there was a semi involved in a crash, and it did block a good portion of 65 southbound. And it does look like there's still a stretch of 65 south that is blocked just to the south of Lafayette between there and Lebanon. This is the camera at 65 and State Road 28. So this is the Frankfort exit. These are the northbound lanes. This is the southbound direction. Still looks like we're not seeing traffic flowing in the southbound direction, at least through State Road 28. So there's your updated closure here. 65 southbound, State Road 38. Does look like traffic is perhaps being diverted off as far south as State Road 47. So in the meantime, I would stick with that alternate route, which would be to utilize 52, take that down to 47, where you can then re-enter 65 southbound and avoid that stretch of 65 that is closed due to that earlier incident. Guys.
Lindsay, thank you. Well, a tragic story that's still developing this morning. Police are investigating the death of an infant.
They tell us that baby boy was found in an Indianapolis park.
Investigators confirming to Channel 13 someone near Brookside Park found the baby. That's on the near east side near Brookside Parkway and Rural Street. Police believe the child is less than 1 day old.
So right now, Metro Police are working with the Department of Child Services and the coroner to determine what may have happened here. Police are using this story as a reminder for Hoosiers of Indiana's safe haven law. It allows parents to surrender an infant anonymously and safely without the fear of prosecution.
Under that safe haven law, no personal information is even needed as long as the child has no signs of abuse.
All that they ask is that you provide as much information about the child as you can, like a birthday, any parent medical history, or any of the baby's health issues too. A good reminder there. This morning, a person is in critical condition after a shooting on the near northwest side of Indianapolis.
Quite an active scene, as you can see from our video last night. It happened on Eugene Street near 29th and MLK. Police tell us they got the call around 8 o'clock last night. Officers have not yet confirmed what led to this gunfire or if they've even located a suspect in this case. We'll, of course, keep you posted.
The
This morning, a man allegedly connected to multiple shootings is set to take a plea deal in a murder case.
It's a case that has raised questions about repeat offenders actually getting back out on the streets and way too soon. 22-year-old Merrill Hubbard agreed to plead guilty to the murder of 20-year-old Brian Ward Jr. and the attempted murder of Asadi Robinson.
These two shootings happened just weeks apart back in January of 2023. First, Robinson was shot multiple times on January 7th. According to court documents, Robinson felt threatened after he witnessed his mother being shot and killed just 2 months earlier. Police say Hubbard's brother is the one who killed her.
Then Hubbard was arrested for unlawful possession of a handgun by a convicted felon at a Northside apartment complex, and that was just a few weeks later on January 26. But he was re-released on just $150 cash bond despite being on probation. So he allegedly then returned to those apartments just days later to kill Ward Jr. on January 30th of 2023.
He's now pleading guilty to both shootings and can spend up to 45 years in jail. His change of plea hearing is set for 9 o'clock this morning. We have more about this story, plus the Marion County prosecutor's statements on why Hubbard was offered such a low bond. You can read that right now on WTHR.com.
Well, another developing story, this one out of Delphi and the Delphi murders, as attorneys there appeals are the case they're appealing for, asking for more time just to put together their case.
One reason is because Richard Allen was moved to a prison in Oklahoma. We told you that several weeks ago. In November, he was convicted of killing Libby German and Abby Williams. And now Richard Allen's appeal is due next week.
So Allen's attorneys say there's simply just too much information and so much evidence to go through, and they've only been able to talk to Allen once. Now, their request for that extension also notes again the attorneys spending time dealing with, you mentioned that transfer, where Allen is now in a prison in Oklahoma.
So if they would want to meet with him in person, they would have to travel there to do so. And they say scheduling has been slow and obviously a lengthy process too. So this is something we'll keep an eye on. We've been covering the twists and turns of this case now for more than 8 years.
You can scan the QR code you see here on your screen if you'd like to catch up on the Delphi murders coverage that we have extensive coverage on for you. You'll find that right now at WTHR.com/Delphi. Well, coming up on 6:08, Indiana lawmakers are waiting to learn if they will be back at the State House for one thing they never want, but a special session.
This all depends on Governor Mike Braun and if he decides to potentially redraw the state's congressional districts. Our Anna Chalker joins us live. She's looking into it this morning. You also have, Anna, one political expert and why they say what could happen if we do go back to a special session.
Well, ladies, that expert says he wouldn't be surprised if Governor Braun calls on that special session soon. But his big question through this process is when would that happen? So right now the state is in a waiting game. Governor Braun has been saying he needed to hear from lawmakers about whether they want to redraw the state's congressional district maps before he calls that special session. And as we have reported, Democratic state lawmakers have said they'll challenge any new maps, arguing that trying to take 2 more Republican seats would disenfranchise minority voters. Professor Paul Menke says he expects Republicans to argue that is not their intention.
What states that have done redistricting have argued is that, no, we didn't do that for racial reasons. We did that for political reasons. And the court basically has said, well, if you tell us that you did it for political reasons, that you wanted to dilute the Democratic vote, that's okay.
Helmke also says if the state would redistrict, he's concerned that the voters' voices would not matter anymore and elected officials would be selecting their own voters. So one of the Democratic districts that's really on the topic of all of this, District 7, that's right here in Indy. And some local faith leaders have been saying that if changes were to come, that this really would be hurting people who are already hurt. So coming up at 6:30, you'll hear from them about why they say the governor should not be calling on this session. Live at the State House, Anna Chalker, 13 News.
Anna, thank you. We'll see you at 6:30.
Well, teachers across Indiana, they're using a new system this school year. It's to help them track student documentation for what they call individualized education plans.
Also known as IEPs, they're commonly referred to, and many are already reporting problems with this system that's only been in place for a couple months now. So Marina Silva breaks down those concerns that teachers are now expressing. Good morning, Marina.
Well, good morning, ladies. This new system is causing a lot of frustration for our teachers as they navigate back to school, plus learning this new system and getting everything up to date. So it's called Power School, and it's a way for teachers to be able to document those student IEPs and adjust their lesson plans. So an IEP is a personalized plan for students. It's extra accommodations, and it's actually a legal document. It's developed with the student in mind by the teacher and the parents. Now, this system went live on July 18th with thousands of documents that needed to be transferred over. One of the teachers spoke with 13 News on the phone, saying it's now taking double the time to get those duplicate documents for students. Abby West is one of the consultants that worked with the Department of Education to set this up. She's also a special education director of Adam Wells Special Services. She says this is definitely frustrating for students.
Like a single entry for a single parent, making sure they're the legal designee, making sure they can receive mail, making sure they have an email if they will do digital signatures or if they want things electronically.
Not only is it frustrating for the students, it's also frustrating for teachers. Teachers are actually coming up with a Facebook group. It's got over 1,000 people in it in just 2 weeks. They're coming up with ways to help each other out and sharing their struggles. Now, if you are having issues with this Power School system, here's what you can do for teachers. You can submit a help desk ticket to Power School, letting them know what's going on. But then you should also clue in your school to let them know what's going on as well and see if they can help. Send it back to you, ladies.
Hey, thank you, Marina. It is nice and dry, quiet in downtown Indianapolis. Not a lot going on the radar, but that changes. There's a front on the way that's going to give us cooler air and some rain. We're going to time it out for you coming up.
And a college football player fighting for his life this morning after a shooting in Florida.
We'll tell you what police are now saying about the investigation.